Mr. McGrier, you say that a summer affair you had 20 years ago resulted in the birth of the defendant, Amia Wade. You say that while you weren't always the best dad, you most certainly are her biological father, and you intend to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wade, you say you were always told by your mother that Mr. McGrier is your dad, but claim that as a child you discovered information which leads you to believe another man is your father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. McGrier, why is it so important now that you prove to Ms. Wade that you are her biological father?
You know, I'm doing this because I love her. And I really want her to know, you know, I really apologize for the times that I wasn't there and couldn't be the dad that I really wanted to be.
I don't believe that you're my father. I don't want you to be my father.
You don't want him to be your father?
No, he just was never there as a father. He popped in and out of my life, like, over the years.
Were you in and out of her life, sir?
Yes. My lifestyle didn't permit me to be the father that I wanted to be or needed to be at that time, just to be with her as a dad. You know, just as much as I missed a lot of her life, you know, that really bothered me the same way that I couldn't be in her life like I really needed to be.
And I can see you are very angry about that, Ms. Wade.
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Tell the court what it was like growing up without the man you were told was your biological father.
Well, you know, there would be times where I would ask for him and he was nowhere to be found. There were times at school where they had father-daughter dances. He was nowhere. Everybody else had their father. Why couldn't I have mine?
Even at 20 years old, those are still memories you carry with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's look at them days when I wasn't there. I'm in one state, you in another state.
It doesn't matter. If you really thought that you was my father, you would have made a way to be there. No matter what you went through, you was never there.
Well.
And then you want to come in and out of my life 5 years at a time. You want to come in my life when I'm 19 and try to be a dad. It's not gonna work like that.
Okay.
How was he in and out of your life, Ms. Wade? Can you explain that to the court?
I was 5 years old.
When the first time you met him?
Yes, ma'am.
5 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember it?
I kind of sort of remember me and my mom took a trip to New York where that's where he was. And I met his mother and some of my other siblings there. After that, we came back home. I didn't see Mr. McGrier until I was like 11, 12.
Another 6, 7 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
My lifestyle didn't permit me to be the father that I wanted to be.
You still should have been there. It doesn't matter.
I understand how you feel.
No, you don't.
Oh, I understand how you feel.
No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have made an effort to be there no matter what.
But I did make efforts to be there with you.
But you bounced in and out of my life.
But when I could, I did.
It does not matter. You should have been the father.
At the end of the day,
you should have been a father.
I'm still your dad.
No, you're not.
I'm still your dad.
No, you're not.
And I'm going to be your dad for the rest of your life. It's done.
It's my decision.
But at the end of the day, we could change this. It's up to you, but you know what?
So hold on, I want to understand what's
going on.
I'm
going to always love you.
I want to understand. Are you feeling so hurt that you just don't want him to be your father because he's hurt you so much? Or do you truly believe he may not be your biological father?
I feel like it's both.
All right.
Like, there was times, Your Honor, when Mia was sent to me by her mom to be there for her. When she came to stay with me for them couple of weeks, and I didn't deny that. I didn't say, no, don't send her here because that's not my daughter, none of that. I just said, send her, yeah, of course. Of course, because that's another bond that I can get with her, you know, so I can get to know her.
No, Your Honor. My mother said, your dad want to spend some time with you. I'm going to send you for a weekend, which was probably 3 to 4 days and whatnot. I went up there and yes, we made a bond. Yes, we talked. But after I came back home, another 6 years went by.
Well, your mother did say your dad wants to spend this weekend with you. So your mother was indicating this was your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Wade, when you sent your daughter to stay with Mr. McGrier, it was under the belief that this was her biological father, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you believe he's not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Ms. Wade, What was your relationship like with Mr. McGrier?
The relationship with Mr. McGrier, it was a summer affair. We were together for a couple of months. Once we split up, it was about a week or two later, I started dating another guy, and I didn't find out until I was approximately 3.5 months pregnant with Amia.
And so when you got pregnant, did you know for certain if Mr. McGrier was the biological father, or could it be the other gentleman as well?
I don't think it could be the other gentleman because I don't believe in one-night stands. We only had one occurrence. After that occurrence, I found out that he was sleeping with another family member of mine, and I cut him off.
Okay. So did you tell Mr. McGrier you were pregnant when you found out?
He wasn't there during the pregnancy. By the time he got back in touch with me and came back down to Greenwood, I had already had Amia. Amia was about 2.5 months old the first time he actually seen her. We tried to work it out then, but things just didn't work out, and I actually gave him an ultimatum. I actually told him, it's either me and your daughter, or it's your lifestyle. And he chose the lifestyle.
So, Mr. McGrier, when you heard about the baby, did you have any doubts that she was your biological daughter?
Not at all.
You didn't?
No, I didn't have any doubts. She wasn't promiscuous like that. When she's with one person, she's with one person. And I had to leave because, well, like really have a woman in your life that really cared for you, I didn't want to mess that up with her. You know, even though I had a relationship with her, but I couldn't have been the man because my lifestyle wouldn't allow me to be the man that I needed to be, or a father as a family.
Listen, I say all the time in this courtroom, every person makes mistakes. As much as I acknowledge Mr. McGrier's journey, I also acknowledge and I can honor your pain in this. And I know this had to hurt as a young girl.
He made so many promises that he didn't keep. When I was 13, promised to get me a whole new wardrobe of clothes for school. I had to go to school with the same clothes I put last year, and that resulted into me being bullied all high school. So as a result, I think that was his fault. There were times where little things like the bookmobile came around. I wanted a book called My Dad for $10, didn't get it. You're not so bad of a person. Like, you could have done it.
You feel like he never made you a priority.
Right.
And he didn't follow through on his promises to you.
Right. And it's like, now you want to spend time with your other kids, but you didn't make an effort with me.
Do you hear her when she's speaking, Mr. McGrier?
Yes. Actually, Mia actually got more time than any of my other kids, except for the newborns that I have.
But
because
Ms. Wade, I think she feels a level of envy
And
because you are so focused on raising those children, and she felt like, well, if you could get focused on raising these children, why couldn't you get focused on raising me? Is that what you feel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because at that time, I wasn't focused. And when we stayed together this last couple of months, I couldn't treat her like a kid. I couldn't raise her. She was already grown. But all I could do is be there for her, just recognize that I'm here. We cried together. I cried with her and let her know how I felt, how I felt to miss the day, and I hope she forgive me. You know, I understand somebody not having their mom and dad there, and then like she's saying in and out the life, so that's a difference.
I just feel like another man could be my father. Another man came into my life when I was 11 years old.
Tell the court about this experience.
He would just come around and speak to me, you know, give me a little change, like pocket full of change. He said that he could be my father, and that's when he automatically introduced me to like 6 of his other kids. And after that, I spent more time with them. He's been taking care of me ever since that age. He has been there for my prom days. He spent time with me and his other children. He took us to the zoo. He spent quality time.
Do you know the gentleman she's talking about, Ms. Wade?
That's the guy I tried to have a relationship with after Mr. McGrier and I split up.
So did he step in as a father figure, or was this a possibility? Like, were you saying to yourself, this could potentially be her biological father?
I never thought that, even though he has said that since I was about 6 months pregnant.
So this gentleman,
always said that.
This gentleman thought he was your daughter's biological father.
He's always said that.
Mr. McGrier, did you know about this other gentleman?
No, not right offhand, Your Honor. My daughter brought it up to me one day. I came up to visit, actually another time, you know, when me and she could try to make it again. And that was brought up that there might be somebody else that could be the father.
Yeah, that's when I.
And that wasn't
told
like,
him.
you know, something that we pursued.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
I
that.
told him, when I told Mr. McGrier, I told him about the other guy. I say, and he's been claiming to be Miss Wade's father since before she was actually born. He's always said, that's my daughter, I believe my daughter. And I've always told him, no, she's not. No, she's not.
So you told him the truth, but you said, I don't believe this is true.
Mm-hmm.
So it truly is about Mr. McGrier being in and out of your life as a father, but also having this information and having this other person not just tell you directly, but tell your mother, and even Mr. McGrier being informed that this other man believed he was your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I felt like he came into my life. He was there. He acted like a father. He gave me the love I've been wanting my whole life. My oldest brother had to step in to be a father figure to me, and that wasn't his job. It was his job if he really thought I was his daughter.
That's a lot of hurt, you know, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And I just wish things could have been different. But there's a forward process to making it better, to move on.
Exactly.
And I'm here today because I want you to have your clarification and feel better about whatever.
Thank you for saying that, Mr. McGrier. And I think you are so right. This moment is about finding out how we can move forward. It's also about her having the opportunity to have her say. And Ms. Wade, I want you to take your opportunity because that's why we're here. And I want you to tell Mr. McGrier how you really feel. And look at him. You're strong enough. You can do it.
I just feel like at the father-daughter dance, all these other dads was dancing with their daughter, and you weren't there. You could have been there for me.
I'm so sorry for that.
Just take a deep breath.
I'm so sorry for that, and I understand how you feel. I came a long way trying to be a man. Trying to be a man, you know, trying to grow up. And I just need that chance. I'm struggling so hard just to like be somebody. So for me to man up and try to be a responsible parent, and my kids don't have to worry about knowing if their dad was there, is he gonna be there? I know I put myself first, I really did, being selfish, because I was a kid myself, but I'm growing up, and I want to be a better dad. And if you allow me, there'll be no more broken promises. There'll be no more broken promises. 'Cause I don't like to make promises that I can't keep. That hurts me even more not to be able to come through when I say that. You know, that takes a lot. You know, I let my own down. And I let myself down even more because where I'm at today, it's for me. It's for me. And I just hope we have another chance to make things right. Because I love you.
With all of that so beautifully said, let's get the results. Jerome, thank you.
You're welcome.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of McGrier versus Wade, when it comes to 20-year-old Amia Wade, it has been determined by this court. Mr. McGrier, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
But like I said, the broken promises won't be broken And this doesn't change what I feel for you.
Even though you're not my father, I will allow you to be that.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Boykin, you claim that your relationship with the defendant was nothing more than a spring fling. You say after disappearing for 9 months, Ms. Gulley resurfaced claiming you fathered her son, Messiah Gulley. You are certain that this is not your child and plan to prove that in court today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Gulley, you say that the defendant is the only man you slept with during the window of conception, and you are positive he is Messiah's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Boykin, I'll start with you. Why are you so certain you aren't the father?
Your Honor, I'm here to prove and to tell the court and to tell her that I am not the father. I am not Messiah's father. We only had sex a couple times. It was like a summer breeze going through the wind. I actually did not know that she was pregnant.
And so you truly believe you are not this child's
I'm
father?
not the father, Your Honor.
Ms. Gulley, are you certain Mr. Boykin is your child's biological father?
Yes, I am certain he's my child's father. He's the only man that I've been with during the time that I got pregnant. There's no other guy.
And why do you think he's denying?
I mean, like, I have no idea. He knew that I was pregnant because I called him from the hospital when I found out that I was pregnant.
So you notified him, you told him?
Yes.
So you're saying that's a lie for him to come in here and say that he didn't even know you were pregnant?
Correct.
All right, I want to know how you all met. What's this relationship about?
We were just friends at the time. I mean, chilling, hooking up, basically having sex.
So this was a sexual relationship?
Yes.
It wasn't a committed relationship, Mr. Boykin?
No, Your Honor.
How'd you meet?
I met her at the store.
Okay.
I met her at the store, you know. Talked to her a couple times. We ended up having sex a couple times. It was just a sex
We
thing.
exchanged numbers. That was
Oh, you just meet at the store, exchange numbers, then you just had sex?
That was it.
Yes. Not that same day, no.
Okay. How often were you having sex, Mr. Boykin?
A few times, Your Honor. I stopped messing with her like in August.
Were you using protection?
At first we was, but then I started.
We never used protection. Never.
And I see Messiah was born in April. So, Mr. Boykin, that would put the window of conception right around the time you were having sex with Miss Gulley?
How is that, Your Honor?
Because you said you had sex over the course of a few months. If you had sex over the course of a few months and somewhere about 10 months later she says she's pregnant, that seems to be the window of time that the baby would be conceived.
I am not the father. I am not the father.
How did you find out she was pregnant?
I called him from the hospital and told him I was pregnant.
And you were at the hospital and you found out you were pregnant?
Yes,
Your Honor.
ma'am. I called Darius and I told him that I was.
You called Mr. Boykin?
Yes, ma'am.
And the conversation went like?
He said right off that he wasn't the father, but I told him
Your
that
Honor.
he was the only man that I was with at the time that I conceived.
Do you remember getting that call, Mr. Boykin?
Yes, when she was calling me, asking me for money.
So hold on.
Like it was a relationship.
I never
It
called
was never
you
a
that day and
relationship,
asked you
Your
for
Honor.
money.
Do you remember getting the call saying, Mr. Boykin, I'm pregnant?
After 10 months later, you know how she got back in touch with me through a Facebook friend of mine's. After 10 months, I was never there through the
We
pregnancy.
lost contact, so yes,
We
I
didn't
found a
lose
way to get in
contact.
touch with
She
him.
stopped messing with me, Your Honor.
Right.
She stopped calling me. I was never there through the pregnancy or none of that.
So wait a minute. You were saying through the whole pregnancy,
I
you
was never
heard
there.
nothing.
Nothing.
No.
So you didn't even know she was pregnant.
He knew because I called him from the hospital.
She called me after the day she had the baby in the
No.
hospital.
I called him after I had my baby, after I cut him off, months before I had my baby, because all he did was call me, wanted to have sex. That was it. And
I was sick and went up for it.
You
Yes.
just said, I don't want to deal with this?
Yes.
Because he wasn't
Yes.
trying to have a relationship.
Right.
Your Honor.
Go to dinner, or go to the movies, or anything like that.
Ask me, I'm feeling okay. No.
Because we are not in a relationship.
Tell me how you see this, because you two
Your
are
Honor.
definitely on two different pages.
I understand that, but I'm trying to be on the right page because I know for a fact that's not my child.
So you had gone on about your life after she cut you off.
Exactly.
You were living your life. You weren't thinking anything about her, and all of a sudden,
Didn't
a
talk
friend.
to her period until she had the baby at the hospital. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't go up there the first day, but the second day I went up there, Your Honor, I hit the lobby. I'm thinking like, Darius, is this your baby? This what's going on in my head. I'm in the lobby thinking this. You know, is this my baby? And I said, no, Darius, this ain't your baby. So I ain't gonna lie, Your Honor.
You were having a conversation with yourself
with
in your
myself
head.
in the lobby before I even went upstairs to the room to see the baby. So I'm like, is this my baby? Then some tell me, Darius, this ain't your baby.
If you had
now look what's
doubt,
going on.
Why would
Your
you
Honor,
show up?
Why would you get in touch with me through Facebook to let me know that I'm your child's father? You understand? You see where I'm coming from now? So, after my friend had
But she
told-
said she cut you off, so did you have a new
Exactly,
number?
so if she cut me off, how's I'm a father? Her
Yes,
child's
his number
father.
changed.
I need you to understand that just
I
because she cut
understand.
you off doesn't mean that you didn't impregnate her before she cut you off.
No.
Did you finally, after you talked to yourself and you went back and forth, did you finally go up there?
Your Honor, yeah, after I got myself together, I went up there. I hold the baby, I was looking at it. Then I looked at her, looking at the baby, looked at her, and I said, no, this ain't my baby.
He
That's
was
how I
happy.
felt.
He stared at him for a minute, then he kissed him. He held him for a minute, maybe like 10 minutes, then he put him back down. And he told me he'll be keeping in touch, and he left.
I'll be keeping in touch.
Right.
Did you keep in touch?
She didn't keep in touch. I didn't keep in touch.
Yes, ma'am, we did. But he also denied after I left the hospital being a father.
So you obviously didn't sign the birth certificate.
No.
No, ma'am.
And Messiah's 2 months now.
Yes, ma'am.
So what has Mr. Boykin done for or with
Nothing.
Messiah?
Nothing. He bought a DNA testing to test my son to see if he's the father, but we never did because he wanted me to go half. And I didn't
Okay.
have the money at the time and I wasn't working. Okay,
So I
if
said-
you bought the
I said-
DNA testing, why you just
So
couldn't
I
pay for the
said
whole
to
thing
her,
if you
I
want to know
said-
if it's your child?
I'm gonna buy the DNA test. I said, we're gonna go half. It costs like $135, I think $140 to send back to the lab to get the results.
And I didn't have half.
I said, I was willing to go half if she go half. She didn't go half. You know what she did?
It
Your
didn't
Honor?
make sense
She
to
took
me.
the test back. She took the test back on her own without me telling her.
Wait, she took the test back and did what?
She took it back. I guess she got the money back. I kept asking her, can I get it?
Yes, I
Miss
did.
Gulley,
take the
did you take the test
Yes.
back and get the money?
Yes, I bought my baby Pampers and wipes with it.
Well, the babies do need Pampers and wipes. And I mean, you have to understand, Mr. Boykin. I mean, Miss Gulley had just had the baby. How's she
No,
going
how?
half on a DNA test and all
No
of that,
job.
and she's still trying to heal and deal with the baby? Why wouldn't you just say, I want this result, I'm gonna pay for this test as long as you agree to just test the baby?
I was trying to do that, Your Honor. Reason why I said half, because she said she had half.
My point is, that was the moment where you had to have that conversation with yourself and say, well, Darius, if she don't have the money, you might not be able to get this test. Well, maybe you should go on and pay it. Well, maybe I should. You should have went back to talking to yourself and said, you know what, if I'm gonna get the answer to this question that I have, I may have to pay for it. Now I'm concerned about the fact that you are certain you are not this child's father.
I'm certain. She told me it's a possibility that
I mean,
might
it
be-
was another guy,
Then-
but
exactly.
the
Then she
dates
said
don't add up.
then she said-
the dates don't,
then she
do
said
not add
Tremaine,
up.
baby.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, Miss Gulley, you testified that this was the only man you were with. Who's this other man?
He's not the father. Darius is the father. I don't believe the other guy's the father.
Okay, believe is something completely different.
I know Darius is the father.
So who is this other guy?
A long-term friend.
And you were having sex with him unprotected as well?
Yes.
How often were you with that man?
Maybe a few times before I got pregnant.
That is a recipe for pregnancy. Were you also sleeping with Mr. Boykin at the same time?
No.
It's your testimony that during the window of time when Messiah was conceived, you were only sleeping with Mr. Boykin.
Right.
Mr. Boykin, you believe, though, that this other man is a potential father. What did you know about him?
Nothing.
Nothing but what she told me. Nothing
What
but
did she
told me.
tell you?
It's a possibility it might be his, and a possibility it might be yours. That's exactly what she told me.
And when
That's
did she
why I
tell
felt
you
like-
this? At what point in this process, in this timeline, did she tell you that?
After she had the baby on.
After the baby was born?
No, ma'am.
We ain't get back. We ain't start talking until you had the baby. I did not talk to you until you had the baby.
Right.
Okay, well, so tell the truth.
That's what I told
Did you ever tell him, Miss Gulley, that it could possibly be his baby or someone else's?
Like I told him, I strongly believe he's the father. I was messing around with this other guy. No, I don't believe he's the father.
Your Honor, shit not sure. That's unbalanced. How you gonna say you believe? Tell me I am or not.
Well, I know you're the father. He looks just like him.
Baby don't look like me.
And
Your
you submitted some pictures to the court that you say prove that Mr. Boykin is Messiah's biological father. This is a picture of beautiful baby Messiah,
You see the resemblance.
and you believe this picture, you say there's a dent in the nose that's the same.
ma'am. Yes. Right.
And in your words, you say they have the same basketball head.
yes.
He said it's not shaped like mine.
And finally, you
Parrot head.
submitted this one. And you say he has his daddy's dimples.
I don't have no dimples. The baby doesn't look nothing like me. I don't know what she see.
So when you look at the baby, you don't see yourself.
I
I just
do.
can't see.
I do.
I can't see it.
I do. Look at this smile.
I mean, I can see it in my other
at
children,
the
Your Honor,
dent
but I
right
can't
there.
see it in that baby there.
Sit on the forehead.
Forehead shaped like a pear. Mine shaped, a big baby head shaped like a pear.
About the same.
So, Mr. Boykin,
Yes, Your Honor.
if the test proves you are Messiah's biological father, are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be a father to this beautiful baby boy?
Of course, Your Honor.
You are.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gulley, what would you like him to do?
When the results prove you're the father, I need you to step up and be a father. I already have 2 other kids to take care of, and it's hard with them. So I need you to step up and do your part.
And talk to him about what it would mean for Messiah to have a father in his life.
He know it's things as a mother that I can't teach him that his father can. So he most definitely gonna need his father in his life.
And as you've been through this time, I mean, you have just had him 2 months ago. I know you're just still dealing with that.
Yes,
And I see you're emotional.
very.
What are you feeling in this moment?
Like I just wanna get him his results and move on for his co-parenting, whatever it takes for him to be in his life. I had a good childhood coming up, and I expect for my son to be the same.
And you've had tears in your eyes this entire case.
It's very emotional. I'm just ready to get it behind me, get this stress off of me.
When you say the stress,
It stresses me because he's denying being a father. I mean, like, he know.
Mr. Boykin, are you ready for the results?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right. Let's get those results. Jerome?
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Boykin versus Gulley, when it comes to 2-month-old Messiah Gulley, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Boykin, you are not the father. You are not the father, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gulley, I could tell that in your mind you had done the calculation and you truly thought Mr. Boykin was your child's biological father. I have to ask you respectfully, do you know who Messiah's biological father is?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the other man you informed that he could potentially be the father?
Yes.
Does he want to be in Messiah's life?
I hope. I don't know.
Do you know where he is?
Yes.
All right. I know this is not what you expected, but this is the truth. And you need to know, and Mr. Boykin needed to know. It's time now. This truth it only prepares you to go forward. Meaning now you know, with every step you take, you need to be more honest with yourself. You now can understand and appreciate the stress and the thought process Mr. Boykin was going through all this time as well, only to find out this really isn't his child. Is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Boykin?
I apologize. That's all I have to say to him.
What are you feeling in this moment, Mr. Boykin?
I'm glad that we got the situation handled. But I was preparing myself for it, you know. I ain't the man upstairs, but, you know, I try to be a man doing manly things in this world, you know. I accept the apology.
That's good. Ms. Bowley-Jack, you and your mother recently appeared in court to help resolve a paternity dispute for your sister. This motivated you to get the answers you've desperately been searching for 3 decades. Your mother has always told you the defendant, Mr. Smith, is your biological father, and you hope today's results prove she's right. Mr. Smith, you say it's admirable that Ms. Bowley-Jack believes her mother, but you say you knew the life Miss Common was living and are absolutely sure you are not the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Bowley-Jack, I'll start with you. Tell the court what life has been like for the past 30 years.
The past 30 years, I've had a number of emotions: anger, hurt, resentment, not knowing who my father was, growing up with other kids with their fathers, and me not having a father. And even into adulthood, my children question who their grandfather is, and I can't give a clear answer.
And that must hurt.
Yes.
Miss Common,
Yes, Your Honor.
this has been very difficult for your daughter,
Yes.
but you are certain Mr. Smith is her biological father?
I'm absolutely sure, Your Honor.
And growing up telling her this, but her saying she doesn't know, she's not certain.
Well, the only reason that she's not certain that Robert is her father is because he'd never been around. I mean, like, I told him when she was 1 year old that he was the father, and I gave him her address and phone number and told him how he can get in contact with her. But he never did. He got in contact with her once, and then that was it. He didn't get in contact with her no more.
And so, Mr. Smith, Miss Common has said you've had the information. You don't believe you're Miss Bowley-Jack's biological father?
No, ma'am. I don't believe so. She don't favor none of my kids. You know what I mean? So, and then the mama, she was out there living the life.
Hold up, baby. I was not out there living the life. When me and you were together, baby, it was just me and you. It was like summer love. It was just me and you. We was together. It was summer love, baby. It was me and you. It wasn't I was out there. And you know the reason I left you. I left you because you were the one out there hoeing around.
So what was the nature of the relationship? Tell me. Well, you said it was summer love, Miss Common.
Yeah, but women kept coming up to me telling me that Rob was their man and wanted to fight me over Robert and stuff like that, so I left him. And I got with my other older boyfriend, and I told him that he was...
First of all...
And I told him that he was the father because he was much older and he was much responsible for taking care of her. But it is a possibility that he's the father too.
Oh, so you're saying right now that there is a possibility that someone else is your daughter's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because at the time when it was summer love with Mr. Smith,
I was still going back to my ex.
After you got done with him because he was acting up.
Right.
When the summer love turned cold.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you went back to the ex.
And I went back to my ex, yes, because he was much older and much more responsible.
Yeah, but
do you remember this relationship, this summer love, Mr. Smith?
No, it wasn't like that. She lying. She lying.
What was it like? If I was who was I with? Name one man I was with.
I only hit it a few times.
Oh, okay.
For real. Only a few times. Now,
Well, how many times did we have sex?
look, about 3 times.
I'm sorry.
About 3
I
times.
don't
That
wanna
was
hear-
it.
I just don't want to hear all that. Can we get back to why
That was
here?
it. You know? She disappeared.
But it only takes once. You know that.
I understand.
And if you
Your
didn't
Honor.
use protection, that's how you make babies.
And we didn't use protection. Neither time. At all the times we made love, we never used protection.
All right, so we know that you were having unprotected sex. So now we do understand that you two have now entered the zone at that point where you could create a child.
Yes.
So take me to the point you find out you're pregnant, Miss Common.
Okay, when I found out I was pregnant, I already knew in my heart that Rob was the father. And I didn't want to tell him because he was too childish and he was just crazy. So I moved back with my family members and my family members helped me raise Lorraine.
And so is it your testimony you never told him about your daughter?
When she was first born, I never told him until she was like a year old.
What happened? How did you get in contact with him?
Well, I went back over to my old hood where he lives at, and I went over there to see a friend, and I ran right into him, and I told him, like, you got a baby. I just told him, you got a baby. And he was like, what? Who is she? I mean, what is her name? And how she look? And who is she with? And stuff like that. And he was acting like he was so excited about the baby. That's how come I don't understand why he's knuckling up now.
Were you excited when you found out, Mr. Smith? Do you remember this conversation?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I do.
Lorraine, you do?
Yeah.
And Lorraine was 1. So then what did you do to pursue a relationship with your daughter, or did you do anything?
I didn't, Your Honor.
Even though you acted happy about it?
Yes.
So why didn't you ever show up?
Because he was too busy out there horning around, having partying and horning
I
around
was doing
with
my
his
thing.
friends,
I was
with
doing my
other
thing. I ain't
girls.
gonna lie. I was doing my thing.
And so,
but-
Miss
I
Man.
know you was.
Miss Bowley-Jack, when you hear this conversation, the fact that this man who your mom says is your biological father was excited to hear about you, but never ever came to see you.
Your Honor, I spoke with him once when I was 12. He called the phone. He told me that he was my father. So it's surprising today that he does not have any recollection or anything. But when I spoke to him when I was 12, he told me he was my father. He gave me a phone number that I can contact him back on. 2 days later, I tried to contact him. The phone was disconnected. So everything that's going on today is just like, it's so many inconsistent stories from both parties.
And so, Miss Bowley-Jack, I want you to look at Mr. Smith and I want you to tell him what it felt like waiting 12 years to get a call and then after that, calling 2 days later and that number being disconnected.
It was a horrible feeling. No child should ever have to not know who their father is, and then when you do call, you basically sent me off. You gave me a number that was disconnected that I could not contact you back on, and then I never heard from you again until I took initiative to find you. You never took initiative to look for me, to look for my mom, even in that matter. You didn't do anything.
And how did that make you feel?
Hurt, angry, disgusted.
And Mr. Smith, when you hear Miss Bowley-Jack, when you hear Lorraine describe what it felt like as a child, how does it make you feel to hear that?
It really hurts me. It really hurts me. You know?
Why did you disappear? Why? You had opportunity. She came to find you, to tell you. At 1, that would have been before Lorraine could remember all of this. Why? Why did you disappear?
It was, Your Honor, it's the life I was living out there, you know. I wasn't ready to step up to the plate, and have any kids.
Did you think some years? I mean, you had to think about her if you called her at 12 years old. What made you call that
Wonder,
day?
I think he always had her in her mind because anytime I run into him, where my daughter at? You know, where she at? What she doing? That's how come I don't understand why he gonna try to sit up here now and say, well, she was a hoe. She ain't my daughter. No, don't sit up there and don't try to throw me under the bus. Because I wasn't in her life either, Your Honor. So I didn't have a relationship with her. So she didn't have her mother or her father in her life. And, you know, years down the line, the Lord delivered me. He delivered me off of drugs. I went to treatment and stuff like that. And I've been in her life ever since, and I helped her raise her kids.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's almost 30 years. So after the phone call at 12 years old, you promise her, I guess you're gonna keep in touch, and then the number disconnected.
I was messed up too.
And so did
No,
you
man, I was
ever
messed
really
up, too.
doubt it, or were you just not ready? Which one?
I had doubts, both.
And why did you have doubts?
Because he met me a little while down the line, and when he met me, I was in my addiction. And
But Ms. Common, you did admit, though, there was one other man, which was your ex.
Yes.
Was the time you went back with your ex anywhere near the window of conception?
Okay, so like when I left Robert and I went back to my ex, I had sex with him the same day I went back with him. And I didn't find out I was pregnant until a month later after that. But I had sex with both of them on the same day.
Okay, so that is what a paternity issue is made of.
That's why I said I don't know for sure if it's really Rob or...
And so how did you just decide it was Mr. Smith?
Well, because she looks exactly like his family members. She looked exactly like him.
What about my other kid? I got other kids.
I know you got other kids by other mothers. I'm saying who she looked like. She looked just like your family members. You even admitted it yourself.
And so the truth is you didn't know for sure because you had sex with two different men in the same day. Eventually, you really started to observe the calendar.
Yes.
To figure out, okay, let's look at this window of conception.
Yes.
So this is the calendar you submitted to the court. You said July is when you believe you conceived, right?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
And that's when you were with Mr. Smith, but you also admit you were sexually active with your ex.
Yes.
So it is around the window of conception.
Yes.
And so Lorraine was born April 21st. And so if you do the calculation and you count back, the window of conception lines up, but unfortunately would point at two different men, your ex and Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Now it makes more sense to me why you were motivated as well to disappear. Truth is, you didn't know.
I didn't know, no.
Did you tell the ex that he was the father and that you were pregnant?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
You did?
Yes, I did.
So did he take care of Lorraine?
Yes, he did when she was a baby. Yes, he did. He went to the hospital with me. You know, he was there for her.
So, Lorraine, do you have a relationship with the other man?
No. To my remembrance, I've never had a relationship with him. I don't remember anything from a baby, so.
Do you have a relationship with Mr. Smith now?
We talk, and he's been to my church with me.
Does he accept you as his daughter, or is there still a feeling of limbo?
I believe between both of us, there's still a feeling of limbo.
What are your hopes?
My hopes is that she actually knows what she's talking about, that he is the father. But more so, my hopes is just for the truth to come out. That's it. I just want to know, not even for me, because at this point, I'm grown. I don't need anything from a father, but I would love my kids to have their grandfather like they have their grandmother, so.
And she still need her dad. Even though she's saying she's grown, I still feel like she still reaches out like she really need her dad in her life.
What are your hopes, Mr. Smith?
I am her father, and then so I can get to know my grandbabies.
Well, let's not wait any longer to get the results. Jerome, I'm ready. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Common versus Smith. When it comes to 29-year-old Lorraine Bolijak, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Smith, you are not the father. I'm very sorry. Very, very sorry, Lorraine. I was hoping to be able to give you the closure you need and deserve. Ms. Common, I have to ask you, does that mean your daughter's father is your ex-boyfriend, or is there someone else?
No, there's no one else. It was just them two. So he's definitely the father.
So do you know where he is?
Yes, I know where he is. I'm gonna call him and let him know.
Also, Ms. Common, if there is somebody else, your testimony did change in this courtroom. This is the point in time where you call up the strength to just tell the truth. And what I will say is you've overcome so much when you talk about a life of addiction and the way that you are there now for your grandchildren. I need you to use that same strength to be that mother for your daughter.